All right, Carl, what's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Shawn, good to hear from you, man. Good to see you as well.
You too, man. You too.
How you been?
Um, Doing good. It's been a crazy time, beginning of September, trying to figure out how to get the children to school, keep their minds sharp and learning and doing it from home this year. We're gonna start from home and then we'll see how things play out and hopefully look to get our little man in back in the classroom with his friends there. What
Truly,
about you?
that's truly digital transformation. Very similarly, my youngest, they're in quad semesters now.
Hmm.
So we're starting them off online because he ended online anyway at the end of the year. So we said, okay, let's just start online. So he's doing that as well. Science online and gym online. It's going to be unique. It's
Wow.
definitely going to be unique, but yeah, he's willing to give it a try. So let's let him try. And then we're probably getting back into class with some other subjects because he also likes cooking and he also likes audio video.
Hmm.
So those type of things you have to do more hands on. So, but yeah, we're in the same boat. Like this is just new age. I mean,
Absolutely.
my oldest was taking online courses for about a year. So he was used to the concept, but never as low as, you know, grade 8, grade 7. So it's quite interesting there.
Hmm. Yeah, digital transformation is surely a hot topic right now, and
Yeah,
we're living through it. We're living, breathing it, literally.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's interesting because I just bumped into a colleague of mine who actually recently just became a CIO for a large organization, international, um, and so we had an interesting chat, and he asked me, knowing that we both specialize in transformation, just in conversation, he asked me, um, what are the three golden questions that one would ask themselves before beginning the transformation journey?
Hmm.
And it took a minute, and I shared some thoughts with him, but I also wanted to have that conversation with you and to hear your thoughts on it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there can be many, but let's see what three we have in common here. Yeah, let's
Mm.
start.
The first thing that came to mind for me was what happens if the company doesn't transform? It prompted thoughts of, well, will they have a market share in the future? Um, do they have, will they be able to stay competitive basically going forward? Are they still in position to provide customer the provide support the customer's needs, or will the customer's needs have evolved to be like online shopping versus in a physical store?
Hmm.
Um, so looking at that adverse effect, what happens if the company doesn't transform was one that really stuck out for me as establishing that very strong why factor.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, that's more relevant now than it ever was because of the times we're in. So if they're unable to make some of these transformational changes, it's going to make them extremely irrelevant. And I would also add that um, customers are now shifting on and how they're going to gauge a business and how they want to do business with them. So
Mm-hmm.
prior, you remember back in the day when Amazon was delivering for free. Um, they still deliver for free, but when they started that, that was a new concept for a lot of companies,
Mm-hmm.
and companies had to sort of race or actually chase, excuse me, not race, to in order for them to do that as well. And it's the same thing applies here. If there's some simple digital transformations that they're unable to do at this time, a lot of customers are going to use that as okay, this is how I'm going to spend my dollars at a POS. They're able to pay and just tap, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's
Mm-hmm.
still some existing companies that make that very difficult just to do that process. And some other companies, they themselves have removed cash and now only use debit from a safety perspective, both from amount of cash that's in the store, but also because of the COVID. And I see those things and I I can appreciate that. That makes me see, okay, they are doing and going that extra mile. They are making changes to adjust. And so, yeah, that's a great first golden question. Are they
Mm-hmm.
relevant? And if they don't do this, will they not be exist going
Hmm.
forward? Yeah,
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that came to mind is who will lead the charge? Like many people, organizations, they talk about transformation or digital transformation or improvement in some capacity. But I find that talking about improvement in some capacity without someone being bold enough to be its champion
Hmm.
um, will hinder the ability to move forward, right?
Hmm.
Um, and organizations that move a change, be it an HR related change or an organizational restructuring or streamlining procurement, and supply chain, I find if there's a champion of the cause, it
Hmm.
has a much greater degree of being successfully implemented. Technology can lead that change for one, but I find that overall, if there's a strong business related driver enabling that change and a champion, a visible champion there who's
Hmm.
willing to ride the resistance as well as the successes, um, really enables that change to be adopted or embraced as a vision amongst the people subject to it.
Yeah, Sean, I like that example. I also like, I understand that's number two.
Hmm.
I like how you use the phrase champion because people listening might think, because the fact that you and I are both consultants, we're going to say, well, what you need is a consultant. And the fact that you're saying that, no, it's a champion within the organization to help lead that. I'll
Hmm.
go even in addition to that, what's critical, even if you do decide to use consultants and champions, so internal and external, that what's critical is that champions identified. If it can't be identified at the beginning, it certainly has to be identified during and most importantly after, because that transition, the last thing that you want is you go about doing this digital transformation and then it collapses on itself because you don't have the right transition to that champion. So sometimes some organizations may not know that at the beginning, but certainly you and I worked and had experience where we identified, hey, this is a future champion here. This
Hmm.
person is motivated. They're coming up with incredible ideas. And this is the person that could probably lead this transition and this control phase going forward and then continue with innovation. So that's a great point. I really like that.
Hmm. Cool. Yeah, it's so funny when the champions aren't there, and it's good that you mentioned like sometimes they don't know their champions, and it
No, yeah,
doesn't necessarily need to be the leader of the company. It's just
no,
someone who's motivated to lead without
yep,
necessarily that title.
yep,
So,
absolutely. Absolutely. Like through my experiences, there's a lot of motivated people, but the how to go about doing digital transformation, innovation, that's the most difficult part.
mhm,
So giving them the tools and the methods to do that has really great outcomes because they learn the methodology to get good ideas and then implement them and sustain them. And then two, they already have some of those ideas, right? And you and I both know we walk in organizations and you ask one person, I've been in a call center and it's the person that's on the call center that's answering the calls that have that amazing idea and we implement it, but they just didn't have the opportunity to champion that idea. So yeah.
mhm. Yep, makes sense. Um, the other thing that comes to mind is uh, what is a measure of success? Like, is
Mm.
digital transformation, if not well managed, could be just a fluttering word, a fleeting word, that people are using in this current climate. And
You don't say.
I like it when it's understood because it's incredibly powerful. But I don't like it when it's used to describe things in generality. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because it could be subtle changes or no changes at all, and but just being impacted by changes around us, and we could say we're digitally transformed, which is
Hmm.
not the case. So
Hmm.
the third thing that really stuck out for me was what is a measure of success, and what kind of outcomes are expected um, as a result of this transformation.
Yes.
So recently with one of my clients, their service was in a physical building, and now they can deliver online video streaming. They do. in place of just walking in, now you can pre-schedule online using this calendar, and directly from your phone. So
Hmm.
the ability to interface with this organization through your mobile device is a considerable tangible change, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Or even like cost savings. A couple months ago, I helped an engineering firm automate a process right across the company that was used to distribute documents and review and collaborate on a few things and create a file folder and track.
Right.
It used to be manual and chaos in several months, and it's now down to a 3 day maximum. So
Right.
again, their change can be measured in the timing, amongst other things, collaboration online, timing from a 3 to 4 month average down to a 3 day. So that measure of success, the ability to articulate it,
Mhm.
is very, very powerful, I find, in establishing a focus with digital transformation. What are your thoughts? What do you think about that?
Um, I like that example. It's number three, and it's probably there for a reason. Like if we didn't include it, a lot of people would be commenting to us saying, "How can you not measure?" But I like how you gave examples that were both qualitative and quantitative, because quantitative metrics and measurements are not always known at the beginning of digital transformation.
True.
Qualitative are almost always known, right? And so I'll give you an example, and this ties into a post that I saw you wrote, or actually no, it wasn't a post I think you wrote. It was a video that you did. Yes, it was a video that you did about the number of emails.
Hmm.
Now, qualitatively, um, that is something you can easily tell when you ask, what is your biggest problem now that you're working from home? And, several people raise their hands and say, the amount of meetings I've been has increased. The number of emails I'm reading has increased. And they couldn't really quantify it, but you see that there's definitely an outcome that you want to make a change to. So I like how you gave those examples. And, a simple solution you called out was more collaboration using some easy tools that are at hand. So you and I still keep in touch, but it's rarely through emails. We're using, just like you said, right now, we're having a conversation over video.
Hmm.
um, if we ever want to share and collaborate, we're not sending so much as emails, but we're actually using documentations that allow us to see both information at the same time. So I would agree that is definitely has to be part of the golden. I just want to re-emphasize what you mentioned, which is sometimes it's qualitative and quantitative. And so if they cannot get the quantitative up front, the qualitative will definitely be there. And then that could feed the quantitative. Then you can certainly get, I'm going to say KPIs, key performance indicators. You can get true metrics during digital transformation, but that's definitely have to be there. I just want to emphasize that companies don't have to worry if they don't have this information up front, right? They sometimes they won't have those metrics up front, but certainly you can always get them at least during the digital transformation. You certainly cannot end without that either. You
Hmm.
definitely need to have outcomes and deliverables.
That's very true. Yeah, and the quantitative side, I guess yeah, sometimes it depends on the type of people that will be impacted by the change.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've seen people not want to be on board because some of these concrete measurements aren't initially accessible to them, like in terms of
Right.
numbers.
Yes.
But the qualitative is equally compelling, and I couldn't agree more that sometimes in the beginning that might be all you have because
Yeah.
we're moving online, you know.
And
Um,
sometimes that impacts the biggest stakeholder. So when I was in healthcare, from a physician hospitalist perspective, they're data driven. But sometimes to convince them why we want to make this change is has a question about, well, how many people are waiting in line at your
mhm,
right? How
mhm,
many people wait in line at your clinic between an hour period? Do we want to reduce that by at least three? You have eight over, and reduce it by three. Do you want to get home at 7 as opposed to 9? Right? Those type of I mean, I'm exaggerating this. Those are quantifiable, but it's the way you express it is qualitative, and they get that right away. And then you're right, that convinces a lot of people. And then of course you can then get the KPIs to show how much you've saved for them from an
Hmm.
efficiency perspective. Yeah.
Right on, man. Cool,
Yeah.
cool.
All right.
So,
Let me recap. Okay. So number one, uh, what will happen if we don't make this digital transformation? So how do we stay? Will we be relevant if we don't make that change? So I agree. That's hands down number one. Two, who will be the champion? Who will lead this? Who will transition this? Who will be the champion thereafter? And then number three, um, is this measurable? Are these metrics? Are they qualitative, quantitative? Are there outcomes that are measurable that can ensure that we are making that digital transformation in the right direction? Did I sort of summarize that right?
yeah,
Okay.
bang on,
Okay.
man. Absolutely. Yeah, let's open the floor to comments, questions, thoughts, and other suggestions. We're now moving forward if we ain't learning, is my thought on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true.
So,
Very true.
right on. Okay, so thank you for your time, brother, and
Yeah, man.
have a fantastic weekend.
You
And
too, man.
all right,
All right. We'll
uh,
connect.
yeah, man.
Let's
Take
do this
care.
again, though, eh? Let's do this again.
Yes, yes, we absolutely should.
All
All
right, man.
right, cool,
I'll talk to
man.
you soon.
Peace.
Peace.